Hello, my loves. It's Nicole Charnel. Welcome back to my channel. And in this video, I'm talking about the 4 books that I read for the month of August. 4 books has been my average lately. I've been focusing on other things in my life that I am wanting to work on, focusing on my kids, focusing on some just new ventures in my life. So reading hasn't been like 7 to 10 books like I started the year with. However, I still had a really good reading month because I actually had 2 5 stars this month. First book I finished this month was Indigo by Beverly Jenkins. This book is a romance. It's a historical fiction or historical romance, and Beverly Jenkins is one of the very first Black romance authors. So I was pretty much really new to her, but she writes Black romance. She writes it from a historical perspective, and I think she writes like other types of books as well. This book was also a billionaire romance, but in the sense of historical time. So the main character, it works with the Underground Railroad, and she's like a house or a stop on the Underground Railroad where basically families come, and she kind of hides them as they get ready to prepare to move on to their next spot. At the very beginning of the book, she gets a family, and she gets a man who's pretty much been beaten down, like he's on the verge of death, and she takes him in to take care of him, and she realizes that he's a very famous name on the Underground Railroad, a very famous man who's been working in the Underground Railroad and saving slaves. So as she kind of nurses him back to health, they get to know each other. They do not start on a good foot at all, and he falls first, which I kind of loved about this book, and also one of the reasons why I gave it 5 stars. I also enjoyed how Beverly combined like historical events into this fiction, into this romance, and making it kind of like just really tangible, really like real life. Like if you were telling me this is a real story and how he fell in love with her and how she fell in love with him, you would believe it because of the elements that she brought in from the historical time that this was written in. So this was my first Beverly Jenkins, and it will not be my last book that I read by her because I really enjoyed this romance. The male main character was to swoon for, and not just because he was very well off. Okay, he was wealthy, and he was trying to flex on Indigo, and Indigo wasn't having it. Okay, I really enjoyed this read, and I definitely would recommend it to you. The second book that I read in the month, Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. If you read fantasy, you know about this fantasy book. This is one of the famous Sarah J Maas series. This is the 8 book series. This is the first book of the 8 book series, and I did not give this a 5 star. I gave this a 4.25. It was okay. It was okay. And I'm really hesitant because I'm currently reading the second book in the series, and I am not sure. But this first book I would recommend. It's technically the first book in the series, but it's not the first book that I read within the series. I did read Assassin's Blade first, which is a novella that is a prequel that Sarah wrote third in her lineup, but you can read it first if you want kind of like a setup of the story. So I did take that route, and so this is the second book in this series that I am reading, and I liked it. It is a YA fantasy, and if you are new here, you don't know how I feel about YA fantasies. I do not like them. They irritate me. They get on my nerves. Every YA female main character bothers me. Every single one of them. I have not read one that makes good decisions, and this is hence why they're YA, and this is why I don't like them. However, I would recommend this book because it's a good fantasy. The story is really good. The main character, she's an assassin, and I love storylines like that. Talking about assassins, and they're working on their craft, and they're trying to get better at being better assassins. But then along comes a riddle or a case that they have to solve or they have to be a part of, and that's kind of like the same kind of theme that goes along in this book. It's very much more in depth, and I'm hesitant to tell you about it just because I really went into it blind. But there is fae in this book. Now, she is living in a world where magic has been like shunned, right? Like the king said, no magic, I don't want to hear about it, I don't want to see it, you better not talk about it in my kingdom, I'm going to kill you. And she is very much going to take that stance. Even though she hates the king pretty much killed off her family. And I think that's common knowledge. I hope it is. But the king pretty much killed off her family. And you kind of learn like what that is about that, and like kind of learn the background and her background there with it. And as you learn that, you kind of see like why she really doesn't like the king. But she has a very real fear of the king. Like it is fear. Like he walks in the room and she just can't wait to get out of the room. She doesn't want to be near him at all. And but at the same time, she's supposed to be this amazing assassin. And this is what bothers me about YA is that you're constantly talking about how good you are at your job and like how you're an amazing assassin, but you are scared of this man who killed your whole family. Now, granted, he killed your whole family. Like that's cool, but like just stop talking about how an amazing assassin you are. Like I don't think these two things can go hand in hand. Like I disagree. I disagree. So I digress. I would recommend it. The story is fun. There's a lot of action in the story. I don't even want to talk about the main character. I'm over her. I'm so over her, but whatevs. But whatevs. If you like fantasy, you really might like this. And you have to, I think you have to like YA. Another plus side though to this series is Sarah J. Maas wrote this very first book when she was very young. I think like 16 or 17. And as she grows, as the series goes on, she grows with the series. And that's what people keep telling me. That's what people are like, just hang in there. Don't give up. Boo, I'm ready to give up. I'm over Selena Sardofian, okay? I'm over her and her nonsense. Please stop talking about how you were the greatest assassin in Otterland, boo. Like, you're failing. The third book I read in the month of August was Oathbound by Tracy Deon. And if you've been following me for a little while, you know that I pretty much got Oathbound as soon as it came out in March. And I have been slow reading this for like the past 4 months. March, April, May, June, July. Oh gosh. Yeah. March, April, May, June, July. Oh, yeah, 5 months. 5 months I've been slow reading this and I finally finished it in August. I probably really didn't even start it until like June. But Oathbound is the third in a series. The main character in this series is Bree. In the first book, she goes to college. Her mother unfortunately just passed away. But she wants to go to college, the same college that her mom went to kind of like escape and also connect at the same time. She wants to connect with her mom's past, but she wants to escape the sadness of losing her mom. So she decides to go ahead and go to college at this place. At this college where her mom went to, and on her first night, she gets there and she sees something crazy. She can't believe it. She doesn't understand it, and she starts to ask questions, of course, because she's confused. And she knows there's some other people who know about what she saw, and she's like, I'm getting to the bottom of this. I'm getting to the bottom. So she starts to investigate and she pretty much stumbles upon a secret society that works in magic. And this is how we get to the story. Now, if you've heard anything about this story, I think the main thing that people talk about is that this is part of a King Arthur retelling. The basically that is the magic system. It is revolved around King Arthur, but there is more, much more to it than that, especially because the main character is a Black female main character, and a lot of Black heritage is worked into that. Yes, there were kings, but what came along with kings? Slaves. So there is a lot of that as well in this storyline. So like I said, we're on the third book in the series, Oathbound, and this book is very much a it very much suffers from middle book syndrome. So Tracy, the author, said that there's going to be 5 books in this series, and this is the third book. So you're going to have a filler book. Any series that is more than 3 books, or 3 books or more, has a filler book every single time. There's a book that has a whole bunch of information in it. You really don't do much. There's not a lot of conflict. We're moving along very slowly, but it's probably over a long amount of time. This is this book. Now, I still rated this book a 4-star because I enjoyed the book. I did enjoy the conflict that was going on in the book. I enjoyed what she was going through. I enjoyed her growth in the book. I also enjoyed some of the action scenes. I enjoyed the new characters. I enjoyed the new character arcs that we were getting to see in the book. However, it was just a filler book. It was. I could give it a lower rating, but I gave it a 4-star, and I would recommend it if you are going to continue on in this series, because I definitely think there are points of the book that are important. I definitely think that her character growth in this book was important. I definitely think that those around her is important. So I say all that to say, yes, I recommend the book. If you enjoyed the first 2 books, I think you will enjoy this third book. Yes, it will take some muscling to get through this book, but I think it's worth it in the end, for sure. And the last book that I read this month is another 5-star, and it was Quicksilver by Callie Hart. Kingfisher, Kingfisher, Kingfisher! And Carrie Swift. First of all, I love this story. I love the story. I love the story. This author did an amazing job at bringing something unique to the fantasy table. Now, if you are a fantasy reader and you are an avid fantasy reader, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We've been reading books for the longest about fae, shadow daddies, female main characters who have some type of like underlying skill that they didn't know about. Like it's always the same. It's always the same, right? But this book, Callie did it the same but different. She did it the same but different, and I am here for it. I am here for it. So this story follows, man, what is her name? You know what? I really can't. I can never remember. It's gonna come back to me as I start talking. But I only remember the nickname that Kingfisher gave her, which is Little Osha or Osha, my Osha. It was just a nickname he gave her. So the name's gonna come back to me. It's going to as I talk. Anyway, so in this book, the female main character, she lives in basically a desert town. It's hot. It's always hot, and they get water rations. They only get I think it's like 16 ounces a day that they get from the government. The government is ruled by a queen. Her name is Madra. Is ruled by Madra, and Madra ain't it. She not it, kid. Like she's awful. She doesn't want them to succeed. She doesn't want them to live. She wants them to die. She doesn't want them around, but she also wants to be ruling this world, right? So the female main character, she literally starts off and she's pretty much in a fight, like from the very beginning. And I think this is what I really loved about the book, and this is what hooked me. The first chapter, homegirl is fighting, okay? She is scrapping. She is in it. She's like, nah, you ain't taking me down. And I think that's really what I liked about this female main character is like she was ready to bite back from the beginning. Now, as the book went on, there were things about her that annoyed me. There were, in fact, but Kingfisher saved this book. Literally, this book, the supporting characters of this book literally carried this book so much. I loved the supporting characters, and I eventually loved the main female main character as well, but it was the supporting characters that carried me through for sure. This is, like I said, it's also an interesting magic system. There is something happens at the end of the book that also brings about it could be something more. Like this magic system could be so much bigger. And I'm interested to see if the author is going to go that way, if she is going to kind of expand the magic system in that way, or if she's just going to keep it a little docile. And I feel like she could keep it docile, but I think that will cause some plot holes. But I think this book is only cited to be a duology, or this series is only cited to be a duology. I don't know if it's going to be more than 2 books. However, like I said, the end of the book really brought in something more to the story. It was very much more in depth. Like what we learned was very shocking. And it was just like, huh, okay, this is interesting. We could go there. So I'm interested to see what Callie is going to do. But I am late to the Quicksilver train because literally the second book comes out in like a month, 2 months. It's September, October, November. So it literally comes out in November, the middle of November. So like 2.5 months. I'm here for it. I'm ready. I'm set. I am here for Brimstone. I freaking loved it. Ooh, I loved Quicksilver. So I can't wait to get this next book. So as you can tell, I definitely recommend this book, Quicksilver, if you are a fantasy girly. If you enjoy reading fantasy and enjoy reading stories and you want something a little bit different, but you still get some romance, you still get some fun, you get some laughter, you get some heartfelt moments. Top tier. This book is top tier. So those are the 4 books that I read in the month of August. I've actually already picked my TBR for the month of September, and I am doing pretty good. I'm going to pat myself on the back. I've actually finished 1 book already off of my TBR, so I love that for me. I am also very much excited about my September TBR as well. So if you haven't watched that video, I will definitely link it on the screen. Make sure you check it out. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, what you waiting on? Go ahead, subscribe. I'll wait. Thanks for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.